is Anna here. I'm just a few minutes early. Well, let me see if I can get my phone too. I'm just a few minutes early. I usually start, I don't know, about a couple minutes early just to see if you can hear me okay. Um, so today in this video, we're going to just talk about my new kiln unload that I just did a few days ago. I have a lot of the repeats, like the same combination. Oh, let's see if I have anybody here with me. Yeah, I do. Hello, good morning. I hope you all can hear me okay. I don't see anything yet, like chat. If you want to say hi. Oh, hi, Minette. Can you hear me okay? Hello. Well, I guess we're almost there, 2 minutes away. As I was saying before, I usually come in here a little bit earlier. I was hoping I could make this video on the horizontal, but because I scheduled, when I went to start the video, it told me I had to rotate, so I'm on the vertical. Sorry about that. So this kiln unload is for my upcoming sale, and I will go into details on the glazes that I have here. I did repeat a lot of the glazes because I really like them, and I wanted to share also some tests that I've done. If you guys follow me, if you know like some of the tests that I do, sometimes I have um, the results at a later date. Well, I do have some results here for the cuerda seca that I've done, some of that slip transfer and stuff like that. So let me see, we're almost there. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Um, Sorry about last week. I wasn't feeling that well, so I didn't have a video, and I really have to focus on my health next year. That's my priority is to exercise more. We need to take care of our health. Sometimes I get so tuned with pottery that I'm horrible on multitasking. So when I focus in one thing, because I was focusing on my sale, that's all I could put focus on, and then you let your health slip. I need to do more exercises. So, anyways, we are ready. It's 10 o'clock. So one of the things that did not work out was this bowl here. If you guys saw my last kiln unload, I said that I was going to refire. It did work for other pieces, but, and I'll explain here, with this one, I forgot that this was the speckled B-mix clay. And usually any speckled clay does not like to be refired because you get the bloating, and that's exactly what happened here. So I had some pinholing on the glaze. It was seagrass. And where seagrass goes thin, which was on the bottom, it pinhole. It wasn't on the sides where it was nice and thick. So now it's a note for self. It's like to apply thick. Seagrass from Laguna, it likes to be a thick application. So anyways, I decided to put Amaco Honey Flux. Honey Flux is a great glaze for refiring. If you have any glaze that have pinholing or stuff like that, Honey Flux tends to smooth everything out. And oh, hi Sheila. Smooth everything out and remove all the pinholes. It's like it works like magic. But anyways, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I try to get a little close here. I don't know if you can see, but it's got bloating. So bloating are air bubbles inside the clay. So when that happens, there's nothing you can do. So it's pretty much done. It's like, yeah, this bowl, I can't do anything with it. I can't refire anymore. I will save it though, so that it's a reminder to me that of what happened, that I can't refire speckled clay. It's really not a good idea. And I should have known because I've had that happen before. I don't know, about a year and a half ago, on some of my sculpted bird mugs that I've done in the past. Same thing. It might have even been a different clay body, but it was speckled. And when I refired, I got the bloating. So you can't refire speckled clay. um, so let's start with, let me see, some of the other refires that worked. This bowl here, I think it was from the beginning of the year that I done, that has the cute little frog. It was a little too thin, and all I did is I applied, it's called Ultra Turquoise by Western. It's a commercial glaze. I applied it a little more, and you can see still the texture, um, but it's a little thicker. It's not so thin, anymore. So I like these results. This one worked out. And then one of the new glazes that I mentioned last time was, I think it's one of the speedball glazes, opal, natural opal. So that glaze pinhole inside, and then all I did is I applied the thin coat of honey flux, and then, yeah, all the pinholes have disappeared. Very smooth inside. That's all I did. And I added a new bots glaze. These are all bots glazes. I believe I mentioned last time, carnelian yellow, and this is Mako mint spec. But what I did here, I added fire, I think it's called fire opal, which is a dark orange glaze, and it kind of matches a little bit of the bird here. So I like how this turned out. So I'm glad. It is a little bit warped, so I might give it a little discount for that. But other than that, it drifted a little lower here. But look at this, it came right to the edge, and it didn't go to the shelf. So I was lucky. Um, this one was the same thing, natural opal inside. I refired with honey flux, and it removed all the pinholes are gone. And I added a little bit of dragon's eye, which is a pretty blue, over the Prisma green. It just gave it a little rim. I just added just to change a little bit so it's not all green. And he pulled a little bit of the blue from the bird. I thought was cute, the results on this one. Um, Other refires I didn't mention that on the last video, but after I unloaded, I noticed that this was just clear glaze over underglazes. And I noticed that my clear was too thin, where you feel sometimes a little rough on the surface if you apply too thin. So all I did here is I put a second coat of HF9 by Amico, and it took care of all it became really smooth, as you can see. So it was worth refiring this one. It's painted on the bottom too. So everywhere that was rough, I applied clear, and it worked. So that was refire. And I believe same thing with this one. It was on the leaves, it was rough, and I added more clear, and it worked, all the way around. So I'm pretty happy with, a lot of the results, like I said, I sometimes you lose some and sometimes you gain, you know. And I'll explain here on some that didn't quite work as well as I expected. So this one was a little, I don't know if you guys saw, I did a tutorial on how to make these lidded jars in one piece. You throw them in one piece and then you cut, you know, where to separate them. On this one, I did get a crack in here. I put a cute little fox, a sleeping fox in here, but I did get a crack. So on this one, I might try to refire. It may, you know, I might be successful or maybe not. I don't know. But anyways, I could sell it with a discounted price. Um, but this is Norse blue with sandstone. And it did drip a little bit too far here, and I had to grind, you know, using my, you know, one of those diamond core uh, discs that to sand it. So I was able to sand the bottom. But she's cute. That was the only thing is sometimes you get those cracks on the lids. This one, unfortunately I put an owl. This one, unfortunately, I had a crack at the bottom, so I decided to just paint the whole bottom and put it on stilts. And yeah, you can hardly see. You can see very little the crack, but uh, it is very smooth. So I was able to fix that. Um, Also in here, I was able to fix that. So that's 2 honey flux, 1 river birch, and then I added um, Bots ruby red, just slightly, just to give it a tiny bit of color. But it kind of faded, so you can't hardly see it. But that's my owl little jar. Again, all these jars were made during that um, tutorial that I did. And then I want to talk to another thing that I did here too. So these 3 came out perfectly. This is my hummingbird, and this glaze, everybody wants this purple, which is very pretty. So um, it's shallot by Spectrum, and then I do shallot here, and then I do one um, line here with Spectrum floating turquoise up to here. And then what makes this purple, nice purple color is Larimar by Bots. And then you add just a little bit of Bots Plus. But even if you don't put the Bots Plus, it's like a flux, like a light flux. It's very similar. Even if you don't add the Bots Plus, you still get the purple. It just makes it run a little more. But look at that purple. It's almost like a lavender, purple, violet, I guess. It's very pretty, very bright. So this one came out really nice. One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, same thing inside. This time I added these little guys here. It's hard to see. They're like little beads. Let me see if I can show you like that. These are little beads of not quite clay. They are a mixture. I Googled that to see how to do this. It's a mixture of 50% kaolin and 50% alumina hydrate. So what you do, I added a little spoon of one and a little spoon of the other. Add just a tiny bit of water and it becomes almost like clay. So you make a little bead. And so what this is, you put it on top of your piece like this. And then you fire, I think I did 4 of those. And then you fire your piece together. But what it does, it erases just a little bit like that. And So if you don't do that, sometimes if you're using a runny glaze, the glaze will completely run over and it will be shut, permanently. You could, try to saw it out, or I don't know how, but you could still do it, but it might damage. So, anyways, these little beads are to put on gallery of stuff. And I'll show you the teapot. I did the same thing. Some people even use that on the bottom of your piece, almost like a cookie, so that the glaze doesn't stick to your shelf. So I was pretty happy with how that turned out. And I think I saw that with Florian Gatsby. He he uses that and he showed how to mix it. And that's it's not my invention. It was just something that you find nowadays online. Um, I did the same thing here. You see those little beads? See these? That's all these were. They were like this on the rim. So you can fire your two pieces together without sticking. So these turned out so pretty. Look at this blue. And so this one is Prisma Green with the blue, the pretty blue is Dragon's Eye, both by Speedball. But I added Blue Guppy here over the Prisma Green. And this is, I saw this from Jane from Shoebox Pottery or Shoebox Ceramics, Shoebox Studio. Jane, if you're watching, thank you so much. Or if you watch on the replay, I know you used this on a dark clay and it was beautiful. So I decided, because I love these two glazes by Speedball, they're beautiful. And I don't know if you guys can see, it just adds one of those spots. They're like darker and runs over the blue. It's just beautiful. Um, so I did the same thing. What was the other? Oh, here. Same combination on this guy, on this. And can you guys see the sheen? That it almost looks like I did a opal luster over it. That's what it looks like. It has that iridescent. Uh, oh, Sheila. Um, yeah, those little things are really good, and they worked. So I tried it for the first time, and they worked really well. Even better than just using alumina hydrate by itself. So yeah, so anyways, this is exactly the same combination that I mentioned here, except that this was all Prisma Green with Blue Guppy. And it's just beautiful. I was very happy with this guy and how he turned out and how comfortable it is. So this is one of my, I mentioned on my last video, it's one of my prototype mugs. I did one that was a prototype. Then I decided to make a real one, and it is very comfortable to hold. So pretty much you're holding the bird, or you can hold like this, with your thumb rest, or you can, I like holding it like this, but you can definitely do this. Hold it like if this is like a thumb rest. Very comfortable to hold. This was another one of my little jars, just with Dragon's Eye. I use the same thing. All my boxes have the little beads of that mixture that I told you, the kaolin and alumina hydrate, and it turned out it comes right off. It doesn't, stick. One of them, I think I had just sticking a little bit, but the minute you just pull it, it just separates from the glaze right out. So what else? I think did I mention this one? Maybe I didn't. This is the opposite of this one here. My two favorite glazes, Prisma Green, Dragon's Eye. But here I put a little Dragon's Eye on the rim. This one I put a little Prisma Green. at the rim, because before I didn't have that, and I used my honey flux inside. All the pinholes disappeared. So this was a good refire because I did have a lot of refire on this one, and they all worked out. Well, not all of them, but most of them, except for that bowl, which it's okay. I'm not too heartbroken because I had so many other pieces that worked out. Um, so now my chameleons, as you guys can see, I love blue green. Although because of Sarah Walton, I started liking more purples and pinks because she does a lot of pink. Um, and the purple ones, these ones here, they're just beautiful, more like a lilac. But I'm truly a blue and green person. So this is Bot's, what is it called? Celadon green over here. And then sapphire blue from here down, and then one coat of Larimar, and it creates this nice transition, as you can see here. You know, you don't see like a hard line, it kind of melts. So I really like that, and it goes great with the blue Panther Chameleon. I think he turned out so pretty. So all the other chameleons I've done, they were like the green with the reds and oranges. And then I saw a blue chameleon on, I think it was Instagram. And then I was like, I was fascinated with the blue, and I thought it was a good one for this glaze combination. And they are all painted on the bottom. And you can see this one touched the shelf just a little bit, so it will be easy to come off. Um, what else? I do have, as we speak, I have a load of chameleons on my kiln right now, but it's too hot. It was too hot to open. I thought about it, but it was still like 400, it's way too high. I tried to wait until at least like 150 the temperature so I can open. So this is that same combination, shallot, um, floating blue, floating turquoise, sorry, with a Larimar, except that this one, to catch the drippage, I add opulence violet, which is this real dark purple in here. And then I add some Bots Plus, but this one came out a little thick here, but it didn't hit the shelf, so I was pretty happy with that. So these are the colors that I do most of the time. They're very vibrant panther chameleons, but then the blue one is new to me. This one is also new. This it's called Red Eye Skink. And someone, friend, Corey, suggested this, and he gave me the name of two other lizards that I had never seen before. And I always tell people I don't do usually custom orders, but I do take suggestions. So if it is something very similar to what I already make, I do take suggestions and I try to fit in on my shop updates. Sometimes I can't, and I have a list of suggestions that people tell me, and then I try to always make some and then have it maybe on my next shop restock. So anyways, that was one of his suggestions, and I had never sculpted one of these before. They look almost like, if you Google red eye skink, they look like a little dragon without the wings, of course, but like his body has all the little spikes, and then his head also have those spikes. So very interesting. Um, Same thing here, same as my other ones, is a Prisma Green, Dragon's Eye. Did I put anything? Oh, with one coat of birch. This one has, sorry, river birch. That's why you see these spots. That's river birch. So one little uh, stripe here of river birch, Prisma Green, and Dragon's Eye. So you like the bots in comparison to Amico Mako? The question, yeah. Oh, how do you like the bots? So here is the difference between bots. They are like celadons, but comparing to, let's say, Amico celadons, celadon from Amico, they're very stable. They don't run. Bots do. So that's the main difference I see. They're very vibrant. They do run, which sometimes you want that instead of a very stable glaze. And so they will show texture. If you put it on top of texture, they will show just like any other celadon. But the main difference is that they move. That's why I was able to get that transition from the green to the blue. If I was using, let's say, Amico celadon, you would see a line, and then with the bots, it just kind of it blends in nicely. So yeah, and sometimes you do want that. Um, let's see. Well, this is that other teapot that I made that has same combination except that it's on a teapot. And look how wild it is. uh, Same purple combination. Can you guys see that? Same thing. I used the purple from Opulence. It's called Violet in here, which is a stable glaze, but it still shows the drips. And then this is sandstone, which I wanted to, for the branch. The handle is a branch. And then this, I just carved the top. And then I poured my glaze. Let's see, you guys see that? I always make that little strainer in there for loose leaf tea. I do that on all my teapots. And I fired these separate because this is glazed and it didn't warp or anything. So that worked out really, really well. The wild teapot. Yeah, thank you, Sheila. Yeah, with the wild chameleon. A lot of people like that one. So this is the other one that, to me, that's from what I mentioned, I am a blue and green person. So same thing. Prisma green, dragon's eye, and then the difference to make these drips that you guys see here. What this is Jungle Gems Blue Azure. It's one of my favorites of all the Jungle Gems is Blue Azure. So it created this nice, let's see if I can get close, nice drips without going, over on the shelf. So it worked out really well. So on this one, that's a veiled chameleon. They have this different head with this thing here, different than the panther chameleon, but I like their colors too. And on this one, what I did is I left this here unglazed and I put the little beads and I fired together. So it was basically like this. So without touching. And then when it was done firing out, I just lifted the lid with no problem. You dream of color. Thank you, Sheila. You would be surprised that my house is very gray and neutral tones, but then I like to add a pop of color, like as you can tell, especially on my pottery. So that over there is my little strainer inside. I don't know if you guys can see. And this is inside is my liner glaze that I use, Seltzer Chun, which is a wonderful liner glaze. This is one of my favorite pieces that came out of the kiln. I don't know sometimes if the video, the lighting does it justice, but this frog is, it's called the fire-bellied toad. And if you Google, you see that he has, it's hard to see here because he's bright orange underneath, like right there, and then bright green with these black markings. And then these I just had a thought in my head, and then I know how I like to challenge myself on making things that I've never done before. And then I just had to try it and see. I do have a tutorial that I think I showed you guys how I made it, how I made the frog, the fairy, carved all these all around. I added a cute little dragonfly. These are cattails around. And this was done as a bowl, but um, you certainly could do this from a hand built, you know. In fact, I think it would look even better if you make something that wasn't round, because this looks like maybe a puddle of water. And I used you guys can see the crackle glaze right there. It's Catalina crackle, and then the rest is all under glazes with HF9 over, Amaco HF9. But next time, if I make another one, I will try doing a hand built and make it kind of like a wavy pattern to look like a pond, maybe, you know. But I had fun making this piece, and it took me longer than I expected, as it does happen to me. I think of something and I think it's easy, but it's not. These are just some of magnets I made. Um, and these were just painted with kiwi underglazes, one coat only. And look how bright kiwi underglazes are. I just did one thin coat, kind of watered down, and to look like more like watercolor. Yeah, I love kiwi underglazes. Um, they they are, I mean, I don't have all the colors, so I'm still mixing them with Amaco. And the other one I use is Mako Fundamentals, but the kiwi is one of my favorites now. This one is on red clay, and this was hand built. Actually, the way I made this is a server or a casserole dish. And the way I made it was I threw it on the wheel without the bottom, and then I made it oval. You know, you just stretch it so it becomes oval, and then you put the bottom. So that's how I made this. But I love how the birds turned out. You can see some drips. And you can see that this is Prisma green, and it becomes darker on the dark clay body. And here I did the river birch and then Prisma green. It is all food safe. It is nice to hold because I like to make these as a handle. So you hold it like this. And these were painted with underglazes. Same thing on the other side. Um, but I don't know if you guys can see on the video, I was very lucky because it stopped all the way around. It stopped right at the very edge. So it never touched the shelf or anything. But what happened here, because I do the slow cool, and I think is because of the iron on the clay itself, it gives these micro crystals. It may not show on the video, but it looks like the gold specks that you see here. These are all the microcrystals on the glaze. So, and I didn't know that Prisma Green does that. All through here, I don't know if you guys can see, it has a ton of microcrystals, which is nice. You know, that was quite a nice surprise to me because of the slow cool and because of the clay body. Anyways, this is turned out to be one of my favorites. Would be nice to put this on a table to serve something. I think it's so pretty. And see, I'm almost at the end. This was another refire. This is my bowl. I had it using on my kitchen for a while now. But what happened, it was the last time I glazed this, it had like one of the wavy lines, but it didn't do this that I wanted. So then I decided, I had room in my kiln, and I decided, oh, I'm just gonna put in the kiln with it's called Ultra Turquoise by Western, which is a very drippy, nice blue glaze. And all I did is I put a little bit here on the rim, and I got what I wanted. So I couldn't be happier with these results. And look at this. Look at these drips. And so before the refire, the glazes were Colonial White, which now is called Glossy White by Laguna, which is a real nice pure white glaze. If you're looking for a nice glossy, stable glaze, Glossy White by Laguna is a very nice one. And then I had Laguna Castile Blue, and then which is a nice blue, kind of like almost like a periwinkle blue with Amaco seaweed. That's what I had before, but I think last time I fired that I didn't get the drips, it was because I fired at a cooler temperature. So then this time I was firing a little hotter in my kiln, so that's how I got, all the drips, and it's just so pretty. So sometimes, if you're doing something that is yours and you're not really overthinking, and that's sometimes where things turned out the best. Your best outcomes come sometimes for things that you're not really over. I overthink quite a bit. Let me see. Oh, test results. Don't know if you guys saw. Let me see. Are the birds also the red clay? Yes, Sheila, they are. They were all sculpted and then attached. And I made sure they were really attached well because I used them as a handle, on a casserole dish. So you have to make sure all around is really well attached. Hi, Imogene. Do you like glossy white more than Amaco Snow? I don't use the Amaco Snow that much, but I think, I don't know if the Amaco Snow, does it let the speckles come through if you're using, like if you're using on a speckle clay like this? You see how it shows? I'm not sure if the snow lets you see that, but yeah, I'm not sure how to answer your question because I don't use it that much. When I use the snow is to make that effect, like if you look doing the ocean effect and I put snow to give those drips, that's when I use snow. I don't use it that much. Sorry. um, this is the test that I told you guys on my last kiln opening. I had a tile that I had done a low fire with. The test was I mixed, for the cuerda seca, I mixed the polymerized linseed oil with um, manganese dioxide as a test because the mixture that I use all the time is the oil with black iron oxide to do my line work. So last time I used manganese, I had a low fire because I used stroke and coat. You can do low fire with that. But what happened was the manganese, the powder it came right off, like on my hand, so it wasn't good. That was on the tile. Well, this time I did it. I fired at a cone 5.5. Um, it looks pretty here, but it didn't work. As you can see, some of my line work was supposed to be black. It got really light, and in some places you can see it, in some places you can't. So it's not. It didn't work out at all. So I'll tell you guys, don't use manganese dioxide. Just stick with black iron oxide if you're doing cuerda seca. stick with the black iron oxide and the polymerized linseed oil is what I like. So I save you some time. So I have a whole batch of cuerda seca right now that I'm working this coming week, and I'll try to post a little bit here on the channel for you guys to see because I'm doing a lot of lidded jars with all different tropical designs. One is a flamingo. I have one that is a hummingbird. I was just designing it yesterday. Sometimes I like to sit in front of the TV and I just have my piece with me and I just, like a sketchbook, I just design. And then tomorrow I'm going to do my line work and then I'll do the glazing. And I love doing this work because I find it so satisfying, so relaxing, almost like painting by number. You know, that's how it feels like to me. Another test that I don't think I showed you guys before was back when I was doing all the slip transfer. I had I did the slip transfer and then I decided to try instead of hand painting it, I decided to use stencils like these. And I will put a link where I got these on my Amazon affiliate link. So it worked out great on slip transfer because you do your, you know, how you put you paint on a piece of paper first on the newsprint. But this time I did the stencil first. So the first thing you do is you stencil. Uh, can you please make a video showing how to make the flamingo in cuerda seca? Sure. Yesterday I just outlined it. I mean, I just sketched it, but I will put the flamingo. I will record a video on how I do it. So, anyways, for this stencil, you put your stencil right on the newsprint. You rub the underglaze, and I will post a video of that because I do have it for this. This was just a tester. Stencil goes first, blue, dark blue underglaze. Then you paint over your stencil. So for the hummingbirds or the flower, you paint right over the stencil. Then you put your slip because when you transfer, it's reversed. So then the stencil shows up on the foreground and then everything else is kind of like background. So stencil first, then the color comes after. But when you put it on your piece, everything is reversed and it works. So that's something that is very easy to do. You don't have to hand paint everything. You can just slap on the stencil, paint, you know, quickly with underglaze. But I wasn't even paying attention when I was putting these colors. I wanted kind of like a watercolor effect. And that's all I did was paint and then put the slip. Again, it's kind of sloppy because it was just a tester. I just wanted to see if it works, and it worked out. So I think that's it. Oh, and I am going to have a video of a little mini wheel that I got from Vivor. I will make a video, but my granddaughter was here. She's 8 years old. And she was thrilled with the wheel because the wheel is for kids and adults. And she knows how to work with the wheel a little bit since she was 2. I've been, you know, playing with her with clay. And here's for you guys, have a laugh. Look what she made. She told me it's a poop emoji. She made this on the wheel. I just thought it was cute. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and I wish you a great weekend. And I will try, you know, right now is a very busy time for me with all the sale, and I still have things in the kiln, and I'm trying to work things in, but I've been very busy. But I have a lot of videos that I haven't edited just because I haven't had the time. So thanks for being here and for being you, for keeping me company, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, Sheila. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.